Hey everybody! So today we're going to talk some more about the Arabic parts or Arabic lots or the parts or the pars. You probably have seen a bunch of different names for these things, so that's why I'm throwing them all out there. The one we're going to talk about today is the lot of love or lot of Eros or lot of Venus. Now, there are actually two of these. I'll show you the formulas for them. There are two of these. They mean very similar things, but they are calculated differently. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so there is the lot of Venus or lot of love, which is one of the 7 Hermetic lots. And it is calculated by doing the ascendant plus Venus minus spirit, minus the part of spirit. And then that's in a day chart. And then in a night chart, it would be calculated by the ascendant plus the part of spirit minus Venus. Now, there is another way to calculate this. It is Fallon's formula, and I think some other people used it too. But it is, it's one of the 4 principal lots, and it is calculated by doing the ascendant plus the part of spirit minus the part of fortune in a day chart, and ascendant plus the part of fortune minus the part of spirit in a night chart. I will put a picture of this. I will link a picture of this formula and put it on in the description box. I also have examples of how to calculate it, how I calculated mine, so you can see kind of how to do it. And I'll also put another picture of the 360-degree zodiac, so you can calculate it on your own. Now, somebody had mentioned in a comment that Astrology, you can, they have like a big list of different lot formulas. I took a look. I could be wrong about this. I may have just missed it. But I did not see this one on there. Or rather, I didn't see this one with these specific formulas. If it's there, I think it's called something else. I think they're calling it something else. So if they have something for the lot of love, that's one of the 4 principal lots, they're not calling it that. It doesn't seem like they are anyway. And if they have something for the lot of Venus or lot of love, one of the 7 Hermetic lots, I think they're calling it something else. I could be wrong about that, but I didn't see what I was looking for when I was looking for it on there. So I just wanted to throw that out there. You will want to either find this somewhere else or take a look at the picture that I link to the description box. Now, I'm not super rigid about which one to use. There are certainly people, astrologers, that have opinions about which one should be used, as is their right, you know. I don't think you have to be super rigid about it, though, because they really do mean very similar things. I would play around with both and see if either one happens to conjunct something. The conjunctions are the most dynamic. If one of these lots happens to conjunct a planet in your natal chart, that might be the one I would use or work with, or whatever chart you're looking at, you know. Or if it happens to make like, I don't know, like a really tight square to something, or a really tight opposition, or a tight trine, or whatever, that's the one I would work with. You could end up with something where both seem to do something in the chart. If that's the case, you could work with both. I don't see any reason why you can't. If neither one happens to do anything like that in the chart, I still think you could work with both, or whatever is your preference. I mean, again, if you've got a big opinion about this, or that is fine. I'm not ragging on it, but I do think that there are merits in using both. I guess, and it also just kind of depends. Yeah. I think there are merits in using both. I'll stop there. Anyway, so what is the lot of love or Eros? Okay, so I was going to read a quote from, I think it's pronounced Paulus. I might be wrong about that. I'm shit at pronouncing things. He said Eros signifies the appetites and the voltanative desires. It becomes a contributing cause of friendship and mutual favor. Okay, so, and then also, Benatti, again, I'm shit at pronouncing things, mentioned that it deals with sexual desire, both licit and illicit. So we've got some sex shit thrown in here. We've got desires thrown in here, which makes sense for something called the lot of Eros or the lot of love, or even the lot of Venus. It can also, okay, now Valens talks about it. So with the second formula that's not it. Sorry, that's something about other countries. In the second formula, one of the four principal lots, which is where Valens stuff came from or whatever, he brings up that notions of morality and philosophy come into play. That I am not 100% sure why, but to be honest, I'm not. But he did seem to tie the lot of Eros or the lot of love with morality. I guess if you're also bringing in the other thing like sexual desire, both licit and illicit, it could be, I guess, in a sense, like your moral compass in that area. That, I mean, I guess I can kind of see how it could play in, but but that is one way that it's looked at. It can show the things that like your soul desires, the things that bring you pleasure and joy, and the things that you just enjoy. And it doesn't necessarily have to just be the type of people that you like. This can be looked at for this kind of thing. For like, you could look at it in like synastry. You certainly could pull it in synastry, or, just do the calculation and then look at a chart and, place it where it would be on the chart, mentally or whatever. And then see if anybody else's planets happen to conjunct the lot of Eros or lot of love, that you might actually enjoy something about that person, or depending on what planet we're talking about, like if it's Mercury, maybe you desire something about their mind, or what have you. So this is something that you can look at in synastry, but it doesn't just have to deal with people. It can also help you understand what really makes you happy and what really brings you like happiness and joy. What maybe that is. And you look at that by sign and house kind of thing, and by aspects made. So I'll give you an example. Like, it can also show you what sign energy, kind of like, like the descendant can show you what you might attract into your life, even if you don't like it that much. It might show you what you might attract into your life. And then you can look at the planetary ruler of the descendant by sign and house, and it might give you an idea of the energy that would be good for you in relationships of all varieties. This is kind of the same thing. You can kind of work with this the same way as the planetary ruler, the descendant, or it appears, or that's how I would, it appears like you can. That's how I've kind of messed with it in the past. But like, okay, because I did both examples, or both of them. One of them comes back as being at 10 degrees Aquarius in the 10th house. It's not there, but it would be somewhere, not the 10th house, second house, Jesus. Yeah, it would be somewhere right around here. And so this is kind of, I do get on really well with Aquarians, with Aquarius, not just Aquarius suns, but Aquarius energy in general. Aquarius moons, Aquarius Venuses, Aquarius Mercury, Aquarius energy in general, I do get on well with. So, there is something, I think, kind of to that. Same thing with the other one. When I calculate the other one, I come up with 18 degrees Virgo in the 9th house. I get on with Virgo energy well, too. Virgo suns, Virgo moons, Virgo risings, Virgo Venuses. I do get on with Virgo energy, too. So I do think that there probably is something to this. Second house, Aquarius, 10 degrees, the lot of Eros, 10 degrees Aquarius in the second house. I won't lie. I do enjoy resources and money. I'd be lying if I said I didn't. I'd be lying out of my ass. But it's not money. It's not enjoying money for the sake of just having it. It's more like the possibilities that it can open for you when you have it. It doesn't bring you happiness, but it certainly makes it to where you are able to do things that make you happy. Does that make sense? And that does feel like a slightly more Aquarian take on money. A little bit different. Not just the money itself making you happy, but what the possibilities of what you can do with it. So yeah, I do think that this does fit. So I would totally pull this in. Move this, it keeps flying open. You should totally pull this in your own chart and see if you feel like by sign and house, if you do find joy and happiness in these areas. And remember, the houses can mean a lot more. Like the second house can mean a lot more than just money. This is just what I'm bringing up because it comes off the top of my head. And the sign energy. Definitely take a look for yourself and see what's going on. Now, how strong the lot of Eros or lot of Venus or whatever whatever you want to call it, might be in your own chart will obviously have to do with, is it making any aspects to anything? If it's not really making any aspects to anything, it might not be quite as strong. Whereas if it's making an aspect to, say, the planetary ruler of the lot of Eros, it might be stronger. You also definitely want to look at where the planetary ruler falls. This will give you another idea about how to flesh this out further, for sure. Now, another thing that you want to look at, something that can make these lots also not as strong, and sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a good thing depending on what kind of lot you're talking about, is a concept called aversion. And it's essentially when you have your, okay. See, mine would be, I'll use the one in Aquarius. Mine would be somewhere right around here, like 10 degrees Aquarius. And the planetary rulers of Aquarius are Saturn by traditional rulership, Uranus by modern rulership, and they are in Sagittarius in the first. Now, they are not, if Saturn and Uranus were in Capricorn, that is a sign over from Aquarius. So that would be considered aversion. But because they're in Sagittarius, they're not. So that doesn't weaken. That doesn't make, if they happen to be in Capricorn, the lot of Eros would be weaker or might not be felt as strongly. So definitely look and see if you have that going on. Another form of aversion here is when they are 5 signs apart, is when the planetary ruler of the lot of Eros is 5 signs from whatever sign it falls in. Like in my case, since a lot of Eros is in Aquarius, if the planetary rulers of Uranus and Saturn fell in Virgo or in Cancer, that would also be considered aversion too. So it's a sign over or 5 signs away. So definitely look and see if that's going on in your chart, because it might that might make the lot not quite as strong or not quite as noticed. But yeah, I would definitely look into this. Take a look. It is more than, and also the relationships, it is more than just romantic relationships. It can be like friendships. There is actually somebody, can't remember who now, that did mention something about it dealing primarily with friendship, or who felt like it dealt primarily with friendship. Can't remember which old ass astrologer it was that said that, but there was somebody who did. So I would just think of it as like relationships in general. I wouldn't necessarily think it has to be romantic, though I think it certainly could be too. But yeah, I'm gonna go and get going. If you want to follow us on Instagram, you can find us at Let's Fuck With Astrology. I am at Saturn Season Astrology on Instagram. Natalie is at Paternal Astrology on Instagram. If you want to like or subscribe or whatever the fuck people do with videos on YouTube, you can find us by searching for Let's Fuck with Astrology in the YouTube search bar. If you are already watching this on YouTube, and you should go ahead and like and subscribe. And if you do the right thing, come join us on the subreddit Let's Fuck with Astrology. Okay, y'all. I'll see y'all later.